Chapter 12. Korven. The Admiral's shuttle docked at 0600 to the minute. He did not come to the holding facility first. He went to the command center Torres had established. He spent 3 hours there, not the 2 his schedule allowed for. He read through Torres's assessment, the council transcript, and Torn's data. He read the brass readings and the synchronization documentation. He studied the chalk messages, photographed and cataloged, and Marsh's prepared presentation, which had reached him before docking. He stopped longest on the chalk photographs. Someone had shot each door straight on, no angle, the way you document evidence rather than admire graffiti. One message had been painted over a fainter one that hadn't quite finished disappearing underneath it. He read that door twice, the second time slower, checking whether he had understood what it said or only what he had expected it to say. He read Torres's assessment twice as well. Then he asked to see the city itself, not the command center's summary of it. Torres took him through the lower districts with a small escort and no announcement. Kess tracked their passage through Sarah's awareness view, through fabrication bays and maintenance corridors and the sealed doors with their chalk messages. The air is cleaner. Ask why. Joined now by others. We chose this. My family breathes. The math is real. Partway through the district, the lights along one corridor flickered and dropped out entirely. The darkness felt longer than the 4 seconds it lasted. Then the backup cells caught the load and the lights came back the wrong color for a moment before settling. Nobody spoke. Torres's hand had gone to his sidearm and come back empty. Korven didn't reach for anything. He simply waited it out, watching the dark, with the same unhurried attention he'd given the chalk photographs an hour earlier. Korven stopped at each chalk door and read it. Torres stood beside him and pointed out the coordination in the messaging, the consistent phrasing, the evidence of network influence on communication patterns. Korven listened to Torres's analysis and then asked a question that Torres could not answer. Did they write these because the network told them to? Or did the network amplify something they already felt? Torres said he could not distinguish between those possibilities. Korven said, no, neither can I. Kess felt the exchange through Sarah's awareness. She didn't say anything. Torres's version of the question had always been about her own certainty, singular and contained. Korven had just asked it about an entire city at once, and he'd asked it without needing an answer to take it seriously. He came to the holding facility at 0900. He came with Torres and without the escort. He was broad and in late middle age, and he crossed the room slowly, the cold and the altitude in his joints. He looked at the 4 of them for a moment without speaking. Navigator Raventhorn, he said. I've spent 3 hours reading about you. Torres says you're honest. Marsh says you're dangerous. Torn says you're necessary. Volk says you're trustworthy. He pulled a chair from the corner and sat with deliberateness. I've noticed that the people who've spent the most time with you give the most favorable assessments. Torres, who has spent the least time, gives the most cautious. You could read that 2 ways, Kess said. I read it 3 ways. Proximity creates understanding. Proximity creates influence, or both simultaneously. Which is the reading I'm going with? He folded his hands. Here is my problem. I have orders from High Command that predate everything that has happened. Those orders reflect a threat assessment that was conducted without the brass data, without the Dawnforge acceleration, without Torres's documentation of both the improvements and the cognitive changes. We know, Kess said. I cannot set those orders aside. I am not built that way. He looked at her steadily. But I can request a formal review on grounds of material change in circumstances, 30 days minimum. During that time, existing conditions persist. Existing conditions include 212 integrated citizens living their lives, Kess said. They also include Torres's documentation of synchronization patterns and personality changes that your own engineer flagged in council testimony, Korven said. The review board will see the whole picture, not just the atmospheric improvements. Vera spoke. How long is the review? 30 to 90 days. He met Kess's eyes. You have 12 months. A review that concludes in your favor costs you 30 days. A military confrontation costs more, and I'm not certain I'd win it. The atmospheric data is compelling. The cognitive data is concerning. I don't know how the review board weighs those against each other. Neither do you. You're not releasing us because you believe in integration, Kess said. I'm releasing you because detaining you is creating a worse crisis than your freedom creates. Every day you're in here, the Dawn Forges lose efficiency. Every day Solis is in custody on Brass. Her systems run slightly better than they should be running without her. That means she's working from inside a cell. Which means my containment is already theoretical. Kess let out a breath before she could stop herself. She had not let herself notice how tired she was until this exact second, and it reached her face before she could get it back under control. Beside her, Vayr's shoulders came down half an inch. Thane didn't move at all. Peria was the only one of them who didn't look relieved. 30 days meant 30 more days of decisions made about her people, by men who had never asked them anything. If Korven noticed any of it, he had the decency not to say so. He stood. I'm a practical man, Navigator. Practical men make practical decisions. What about Torn? Thane asked. Korven paused. Torn concerns me. His data is sound. His personality change is documented. The review board will interview him extensively. If integration consistently produces individuals who are more effective and less autonomous, that's a problem that atmospheric readings don't resolve. He moved toward the door. Torres remains in command of security. His officers continue monitoring. The integration centers remain sealed, pending the review. But the integrated citizens are free to live their lives, and you're free to live yours. And if the Dawn Forges continue to decline on the projected schedule, the review board will have very current data to work with. That's not a vote of confidence, Veyra said. No, Korven agreed. It's a pragmatic recognition that the evidence is genuinely ambiguous and that detaining you is not making it less so. He opened the door. Marsh is not a stupid man. He is a frightened one. But the things he's frightened of are real things. Don't forget that. He paused. Torn. Watch him. If the man who filed 6 suppressed reports is still in there, make sure he stays. Then he left, and did not offer anything more. Torres stood in the doorway. He looked at Kess with the expression of a man who had done his job competently and was watching his superior make a different call. The chalk, he said, on the door. I cataloged it as evidence of coordinated messaging. I know, Kess said. Someone will write more tonight, Torres said. Probably, Kess said. I'll catalog that too. He nodded once. That's my job, you do yours. We'll see which set of evidence the review board finds more compelling. Then he left too. The 4 of them stood in the holding facility in silence. 30 days, Veyra said. 30 days, Kess confirmed. The Dawn Forges lose 2 or 3 points in 30 days, Veyra said. And Torres documents every synchronization pattern and personality change he can find in 30 days, Thane said. Both things happen. Kess walked to the door and stepped into the corridor. The air tasted of altitude and recycled metal, and under both of those, faintly, of growing things. 4,000 meters below, her brother tended his garden. The planet waited. She went to find Pariah, Sarah, Chen, Torn, Volk, and everyone else. They had spent the last 4 days doing the quiet work of keeping a city alive long enough to make a real choice. One that came with costs. 30 days to build a case sturdy enough to survive a room full of people who had never once stood in an integration center and felt the air change. She started walking.
Chapter Guild, Stories for Your Mind.